After it was revealed that a divine tree, human like Ryu, has an innocent nature, but the fact that it's different from what happened in Chapter 18, I tried to think about what is meant by innocence. Is it actually easy to tame them or impossible? So how can we infer the innocence of the divine tree people when it was Ryu himself who we saw from the beginning that he was in their scenario, and it was Ryu himself who made the shinobi in control of their scenario? Saying that this is a lie is certainly impossible, especially since it was Shikamaru who said it. But if the fact is that this is beyond expectation, could it have something to do with the tree underground? We know that Matsuri's abilities are truly beyond logic. Even with the toad that Boruto intentionally placed in the desert, Matsuri was able to know about it through a tree. Then, is this acting and pretending to be innocent part of what the divine tree people knew from the beginning when Konohamaru and Shikamaru devised a strategy to defeat them? Can't conclude that this is 100% true, but at least it makes sense. And still talking about the divine tree humans, even though they are considered as innocent as newborns, do they have the potential to betray, like Matsuri or even Hidari? Saying that Matsuri betrayed Jura actually makes sense, especially in Chapter 18. Matsuri's anger was triggered by a woman who was in fact a manifestation of her own body, Mogi. The anger wasn't caused by Konohamaru's betrayal, but rather by overwhelming jealousy. And as for Hidari, honestly, both of them are characters with great potential to betray. If Matsuri's reason for betrayal was her love for Konohamaru, then what about Hidari? The answer is clear. It's about the body of an Uchiha. Speaking of Hidari, I actually have several speculations and analyses on how to prove that Hidari could become a traitor, especially since he is one of the strongest and greatest Uchiha. Basically, in every organization, whether it's Akatsuki as an example or others, there will always be someone who sides with the protagonist. For instance, in Akatsuki, there's Itachi, and in Kara, there's Koji and Amado. Now, is it possible to say that there would be no traitors among the Divine Tree humans? That's something impossible. Believe it or not, the one Divine Tree human with the highest potential for betrayal is Hidari. Yes, even though I've just mentioned that Matsuri also has potential, if we're being more specific, I'd choose Hidari. Literally, we know that the Uchiha clan is always associated with unexpected events. For example, Madara, who managed to stay alive until Obito's era, thanks to the power of Izanagi. Then there's Obito, who passed on his Mangekyou Sharingan powers even after being killed by Kaguya. And Itachi, who broke free from Edo Tensei's control using Shisui's Mangekyou Sharingan ability. This means that almost every Uchiha has had a plot twist so impressive that it left fans in awe. So with these facts about the Uchiha, what about Sasuke? Is it possible for Sasuke's consciousness to take control of Hidari's body? Actually, it's highly possible. Although Sasuke is not dead, but his soul or consciousness is being separated from his body. That means Sasuke's soul should have perfect power. He can teleport with that perfect power to Hidari's mind. The teleportation in question is not in a physical change, but rather a soul that can move or connect. The only flaw that Sasuke could use to control Hidari's body was when Hidari was revived by Jura. This theory makes more sense because if Sasuke is pretending to be Hidari, it means that all this time Sasuke has been observing what Jura and his allies are doing. By making those observations, Sasuke could be prepared if he later had the opportunity to control Hidari's body. Remember, Sasuke is a character who was once immune to Mugen Tsukuyomi's Genjutsu. Although Sasuke's Rinnegan eyes are gone, the power of the Sharingan, or Sasuke's hidden power, is still able to counter the control caused by Shinju. Come to think of it, it feels very strange if Sasuke has been controlling Hidari's body from the beginning. Because, for example, if he suddenly came back to life, he would have been surprised and would reflexively look at his own body. But when we look at Hidari's appearance in the 4th chapter, we don't see any suspicious behavior from him. This means that at that time, Hidari's consciousness was purely his own. Now, when Hidari is resurrected, he begins to display suspicious behavior. His gaze feels strange, and there's a slight change in the way he speaks. If Sasuke has indeed managed to take over Hidari's body, then it's possible that when Boruto fails to protect Sarada, Hidari will be the one to do so. If Hidari acts in this manner, there's a chance that Juro will kill Hidari. However, there's also another possibility. Hidari might regain his awareness and act of his own will. This means he would betray not because he's controlled by Sasuke's soul, but out of his own desire. If Hidari takes such actions, there's a chance Jura will kill him with his own hands. And in the worst case scenario, Jura might destroy Hidari's soul, or in other words, destroy his Togodama. Because after all, soon we will find out whether there is really something suspicious about Hidari who has been resurrected by Jura or not. This should all be related to the possibility that Sarada could experience the worst situation when fighting against Ryu. Plus, Boruto also received a warning from Koji not to interfere in Konohamaru and others' missions. And speaking of Konohamaru, there seems to be a possibility that Konohamaru will die. Actually, dying didn't make much sense for this arc. Maybe it's more like being devoured by Matsuri. If indeed the theory about Hidari being controlled by Sasuke's soul does not really happen, it could actually be that Kashin Koji is hiding future events where Konohamaru will become a tree for Boruto. Because if Koji let Boruto know that Konohamaru would become a tree in the near future, Boruto would try to save Konohamaru, and that is precisely what makes Boruto can be killed by Jura. But when it comes to the final conclusion, saying that the Jura destroyed the Togodama Hidari is impossible. But saying that it's completely impossible isn't right either. Many scenarios are sometimes unexpected. Will the loss of the old generation in the Boruto era be part of a story that will happen in this series? But anyway, sooner or later this is something very exciting for us to wait for. And regarding how Boruto reacts to the developments of this mission, which seem to be going poorly, will he take actions outside the plan set by Kashin Koji? If I may speculate, it's highly likely that Boruto will ignore Koji's orders to stay in hiding. As for Sasuke, do you agree with me that as an Uchiha, Sasuke might be capable of regaining his consciousness through the body of a divine tree human? Once again, this analysis is based on a story that happened to Itachi when his body was taken over and controlled by Kabuto. Perhaps the case here is different, but the main point is Uchiha, and once again, Uchiha. We can't underestimate this clan, and I'm convinced there will be a major plot twist following Hidari's second resurrection. So, what do you think, guys? Do you have any other opinions, or do you agree with my analysis? And thank you to everyone who has liked and subscribed. I'm Nim. See you in the next episode.